Olivia Beavers is with Politico. Good morning, Olivia. How are you?
I'm good, Hugh. How are you?
I'm great. Now, we have got a thing, references that should not be made during a presidential debate quiz for you. I just want to know if you are literate in things that ought not to be brought up, but might be brought up by Stuart Varney tonight. Number one, do you know what Cracker Jacks are?
Yes.
Okay,
The
that's a
snack you
good.
get at
Do you,
baseball, yeah.
okay, do you know what Good and Plenty is?
No.
So you're not going to be able to sing the Good and Plenty jingle. Have you ever heard of Lost in Space?
You know what? I actually had heard you mention it earlier on the show, and I meant to Google it because I swear you set out to stump me with at least one question every interview, and I couldn't even remember what the name was before I went to go Google it.
So you're not going to remember Dr. Smith. And then finally, do you know what a close talker is? It's a Seinfeld reference. You ought to know this.
Well, I feel like, isn't that the person who gets way too close to your face and you're trying to get some distance and they lean in?
Yeah, that is my favorite episode of Seinfeld ever. But what I'm referring to, Olivia, is that tonight's debate, the directors are always telling the moderators, do not make references to things that people under the age of 25 or 30 will not remember. And these are, you got 1 out of 4, Cracker Jacks. Harley, our Guamian at the controls, did not know what Cracker Jacks are.
Here's a quick
But
question for you. Because you mentioned Adele and Taylor Swift earlier on the show. Who sang Love Story?
Oh, dear. If I had a producer, they would whisper that in my ear. I'm stumped. Who did sing Love Story?
Taylor Swift.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, Love Story was a movie when I was in high school. That can't possibly be true.
Just stop. Just stop. Joe.
I love that movie.
You, Joe.
Oh, no.
It's an intervention. Dwayne is trying to do an intervention. Olivia, you cover Congress. I have to ask you about the Seinfeld shutdown. Now, the Seinfeld show was a comedy show about nothing. I think this is a shutdown about nothing except the electoral ambitions of the Knucklehead Caucus. Matt Gaetz, Maryland Matt Rosendale, Dan Bishop, and Ralph Norman, who are all running statewide. What is this shutdown going to be about?
It's going to be really kind of watching how Speaker McCarthy decides to navigate this. You know that the Senate CR was put forward. It includes Ukraine funding. It lacks the cuts that the House wanted. The House is not going to pass it. Republicans have already said it's dead on arrival. It won't be brought to the floor. McCarthy's in a really tough spot because was able to pass at least the rule for 4 appropriations bills, but we don't even know if those are going to pass this week. Conversations with Republicans suggest it's going to be even close. And then he has enough Republicans, or at least he has in the past, saying that they won't pass a short-term spending bill. So we're going to be entering a government shutdown. And from there, his hand gets a lot weaker. You're starting to have the government respond. You start hearing stories floating out. The president starts putting their hand in it of people who can't have their weddings in parks, and veterans who are not getting certain pay, and military service with delayed payments. And so it's going to be really a really tough political landscape. And there are some people in that caucus, as you call it, who would be interested to see him squirm and to see him in a politically vulnerable, weak position. And as we mentioned on your show before, some of them are also seeking higher office. So it works for them to go against the speaker.
You know, there are 4 members of the Knucklehead Caucus and then some affiliated members. And Matt Rosendale, Maryland Matt Gaetz, Dan Bishop, and Ralph Norman all are seeking statewide office. Does anybody not know this in the press that's why they're doing this? Does anyone ever report it?
We have a whole story, and I actually almost flagged it for you last week. And ambitions play an important role. I will say, and when we ask some of the people that you've named about, their position now, they say Kevin McCarthy should have canceled August recess. Now, do some of them really believe all of August recess? I think they had vacations planned, but they think that he should have been working to pass the appropriations bills throughout that time, and they think that they lost a lot of precious time for that, and now they feel like they're getting jammed. So
the time travel Republicans are always amusing to me, Olivia. They're just nonsense. Now, I got to ask you one more question before we run out of time, because the time travel Republicans overlap in a Venn diagram with the Knucklehead Caucus. Do you have any idea how much a gold bar weighs?
No, but I imagine it's sort of like a brick. If I took it and hit someone, it would really hurt.
27 pounds. So I am curious, if Senator Menendez picked up his gold bars in Egypt, as is speculated, how did he get them through customs? Has anyone asked him that yesterday? You know?
I do not know, but I have an idea. Because when you do Codels, I don't know if you did a Codel there, but you fly military air. And you don't have to go through customs. So members of Congress are known to sort of put in the bottom of the train or the plane rugs wherever they go, if they're in, Turkey or different types of furniture, and you don't have to go through the standard process of getting it. So that might be.
Oh, you got to run with that line. I'm wondering where the gold bars came from, and if they came from Egypt, he might have been given them in New Jersey, but he was very upset on yesterday's press corps asking him why he won't resign. But Olivia Beavers will be talking to you. We'll be watching for your analysis of tonight's debate. Thank you for joining me. Good and Plenty. Go look it up. And Lost in Space. Get current, Olivia. Get current.